Well, hello, weather and pipe making fans. Today, I'm coming to you from the basement of the Turkey Palace. I've decided I need to make myself a pipe making studio. Working in the garage, there's only about 6 months a year here where the garage is the temperature in the garage is livable. The summer, it's just way, way too hot. The winter, it's way too cold. And I've done it. But there's a lot of setup and takedown and things. And so, I've been looking at maybe building a workshop outside. But then, completely randomly, I needed to get some tools for my refinishing project where I'm refinishing a lot of the woodwork. And I realized I've been storing my tools. Let's flip around here. In what we like to call the wine cellar. So that's this room here. You see it's got a beautiful stone archway. It's got a nice door with separated light, and there's etching and everything on here. Little stone, well, fake stone. This is just ceramic tile. Yeah, porcelain tile. This is porcelain tile. But inside of here is nothing, right? Except for a shop vacuum. This room was never finished. See, we're missing the trim around the door. We don't have any baseboards. I've got a scrap of carpet just lying here. This is the carpet from the rest of the house. They leave you extra when they do your carpeting. And then it's, bare concrete floor after that. And it's a 5x7 room. Flip around again. So you can see on the walls, there's all kinds of splatter marks. It's up on the ceiling. That's because the kids used this room when they were little. They used this room as their art room. And we put them in here because it was really the only unfinished room in the house. And figured, well, it's not textured, it's not painted, the wood trim's not up. If they make a mess with spin art, most of these splatters are from that tool called spin art, which spins a little piece of cardboard and then you squeeze paint onto it with something that's like a ketchup squeeze bottle, and it just flings it everywhere. And they did lots of Play-Doh and finger paints and all that stuff in here. But my youngest kid is 17, almost 17 in a couple of weeks. My youngest kid is 17 or so, and my other child is already married and living somewhere else. So this room is never going to get used as a children's art studio again for us. So I figured I could make a little pipe making studio in here. And this is going to take me a little while. I've done a lot of planning, but I think I can get most of the pipe making stuff in here. I'm not sure yet if I can get the drill press and the what do we call it? Bandsaw in here. I think I can, but I'm not sure. So one problem that we have, there's an electrical outlet there. There's an electrical outlet there. And this back wall here is 7 feet, right? And so we're 5 feet deep by 7 feet wide. No electrical outlet, right? All along here, all around there. So that side of the room has no power. I wanted to put my buffer over here, so I've got some power strips and things that I'm going to have to deal with. I bought myself a workbench. That's out here. Just got this yesterday. That was a fiasco because it turns out it's a Kobalt, right? Which means you get it at Lowe's. I'm not promoting this. I haven't put it together, so I don't know if it's any good. There's many YouTube videos. I'm putting approximately this one together. It looks to me like they've made it a little bit crappier since most of those videos came out, and they've made it about $100 more expensive. So this thing's now about $350. Most of the YouTube videos claim it's $225 to $250. It doesn't seem to be. But we had to go to a couple different Lowe's because it turns out when you check online if something's in stock and it says it's in stock, when you go to the store, it's not. Especially big items like this. So I'll be putting that together today. I'm going to be running a little dust collection system in there. I have a bunch of fittings for the dust collection. I bought a bunch of things for dust collection. I've got blast gates, and I've got the special little clamps that go over the over hoses, as opposed to just, these are the clamps that came with the hose right there. They're just a regular pipe clamp with a thumb screw on it. These guys are the ones that, there we go, you can see here. They're like a split ring. So rather than just being a circle, they're cut, and then they have a little jumper in them right there. I should take them out of the bag, but you'll see that eventually. But they're designed to go over this kind of hose that has a wire in it, right? Because it needs, this is a spiral, so it needs to go diagonal. This kind of thing won't go diagonally. It'll go straight on, which means it has to go over top of one of these wires, which means it doesn't clamp as well. I got a few adapters that are for the tools. I got a nice shop brush. It's going to be an exciting project. So I'll be filming it here and there as I go. I got to look at the camera over here. I have a tendency to look at my face over there. I can look at the camera. So that's where we are now. I'll keep updating this video as we go. And there we have it, after 2 hours of assembly. Now, the assembly could be faster if I'd done this like in a garage. The problem is the finished product will not fit through this doorway. This door is only 2 feet wide, and that won't fit. It's a little bit over 2 feet. So I had to assemble it inside this room, which means moving back and forth, move it this way so I can work on that way, move it that way. You know how it goes. No, went together pretty well. The directions are pretty good. The way that the hardware is packed is beautiful. Right? They give you this blister pack. I've got a couple of screws left. I'll explain that in a second. They give you this blister pack where everything is labeled. You just pop out the back, and there, all the different screws, and the light hooks are in here, and the S hooks are in here. Okay, so now as a part of the video, I'm going to say, I call everything that's wrong with the directions for this. I'm going to start at the top and work down. First off, the directions say that this handle is a separate piece that you have to screw on, but it's riveted. Secondly, the directions say to remove a screw in one of these right here. They say there's no screw in here. These screws, I guess they're bolts, are built onto the struts, and you just thread them in, and there's a nut there. You don't even need a wrench for that. It's very easy to do. Next, there's a screw here on each end. The directions do not mention that screw hole. When you're done, you see you have 2 of these screws left over, and you happen to have a hole at either end. They go in there. The website says this is fluorescent, but it's LED. That's really good. And then the drawers. The drawers are the only confusing part. The picture for the drawers is wrong. You can see they've actually put a sticker in the directions for the drawers. There's a sticker for the big drawer, a sticker for the little drawer. There's a sticker there to change, and a sticker there to change what parts to use, but the picture's totally wrong. So the picture says it's 1 screw here and 2 screws on either side. In fact, it's 2 screws in the back and 2 screws in the front that come, instead of in from the side, they come from the back to the front. And the 2 screws in the front are different. So you can see here, you've got 2 different length screws. So the ones in the back and the bottom of the front are all the shorter screw, and then the longer screw goes at the top. So I'll show you, that's right here. The longer screw goes here, the shorter screw goes down there. And the reason you use the longer screw here is because this piece has a flanged grommet in it. All the others are just pieces of sheet metal that are sticking together. This one has a flanged grommet in it, and it makes it have a little bit of a gap there where the flange is. So you need a longer screw in order to make it into the material. So that's true on all 3 drawers. You do that, you have exactly the right number of parts. The other thing that's pretty cool, they don't tell you this. If you watch the other YouTube videos, they show that you bolt this in. This is actually magnet mounted. Right? It's got 2 big magnets, and you go, hey, wait a minute, this says it's stainless steel. Why is it magnet mounted? This is apparently the stainless steel that's magnetic, meaning it's probably not stainless. But the nice thing is that means you can put this on either end. There's 2 little impressions there. Those for that, you don't need to put them in there. And there's 2 impressions for that at the other end. It also comes with these hooks. Now, the weird thing is, these hooks can only go on the right. You come over here to this side, an otherwise identical piece does not have the little holes drilled at the bottom, and the hooks won't fit in these higher holes. If you look, if I take a hook, can't get it in there because it would need to be straighter. This part would need to be shorter, or it needed to stick straight back. It'll only fit in these bottom hooks. So you have 5 hooks here, which is nice. Those have to go on the right. Power strip can go on either side. It's cool. It's got 2 USB charger ports. They're only 2.4 amps. But you know, maybe it'll keep my camera running longer, and I won't have to plug in a charger. Maybe I can just use that. So I am now off to modify this. I have 4 screws left because there's 4 screws that come up from the bottom, you know, in each corner to hold this top down. But I'm going to modify this top, even though this is brand new and I've never used it. I figured out something I need different. So I'll show you that as soon as it's done. And for this, in order to glue, I've got to sand through the varnish on that, and then that'll go right there. I've got 4 deck screws that'll be used to hold it in position while the glue sets. I think most of the strength is coming from the glue, because this is maybe only a ½ inch thick. It's not very thick, so we can't really put screws too far into it. I could screw from above. That's going to be my next option if this breaks. Okay, it's glued and screwed and clamped. Now I have to wait a while before I go to the next step. And there we go. I've got a couple of little grommets in here that Yogi machined for me. I chipped out the wood a little bit, putting that one in. This one looks much nicer. And it holds my magnifying lamp, so I can have my magnifying lamp wherever I want. On the workbench, I can put it in that corner, I can put it in that corner. This originally came with a clamp, but the sides are all flush here. There's nowhere to put a clamp, so I had to embed it in there. All right, next step. Okay, 6.5 hours, maybe 7 hours later, I'm knocking off for the night because it's almost kickoff time for the Bills playing the Ravens. I'm a big Bills fan because I'm from Buffalo originally. I've hooked up, I got my little shop vac in the corner here, Rigid brand shop vacuum. Shop Vac Corporation went out of business a couple months ago, sadly. They invented this thing, but Rigid makes a better one. Little flex hose here. I bought 25 feet of this flex hose. Got the fancy clamps there. Here's a little hose end piece there. Back up to this. This is 2-inch PVC. It still needs to be cut. I put a blast gate on here. Got a 2-inch T. The blast gates don't quite fit into the 2-inch T, so you heat up this part of the T for, I'm going to say exactly 45 seconds. I tried it at 30, it didn't work. I tried it at 60, it was too gooey. 45 seconds, it just starts to collapse of its own weight. It starts to become an oval, and that's when you know. Then you jam this in there, and it hardens up in 5 or 6 seconds. There's a ton of videos on how to do that. There's a little piece of 2-inch pipe stuck here with a clamp. This will run the dust collection port for the belt sander. It's on the side here. The problem I'm having is this belt sander is too long. When I set it with the feet all the way at the front, I was worried about this. The dust port for the back is way back here, and then this adapter has to go on it. And once that gets in there, that's pretty much the entire length of this work surface. So I have to figure out a different solution. I think what's going to happen is this isn't going to be in here all the time connected to its own blast gate, but it's the same adapter that's used for the side. So I think when I need to use the disc sander, I'll just rotate this thing sideways, unplug this from that side, plug it in here. I never really have to have both of them going at the same time. I hardly ever use the disc sander when I'm making pipes. The belt sander is where it is. I need to make a downdraft box, which I'll work on over here. Well, once it's made, I'll put it here and I'll carve pipes over here, or possibly, I was thinking maybe I'd pull out a drawer and I'd set it on the drawer here to be a little lower, the work surface maybe a little high for using the downdraft box. And then I'm going to have a fitting on the end here where I'll run a longer piece of hose, and that way I can still vacuum up the floor. Eventually I'll get myself some anti-fatigue mat or something to put down here. I wanted to get everything in place first before I try to figure out the solution. I probably need to put some sort of sweep on this door because there's a giant gap at the bottom where dust will go out. That will drive the missus crazy. While I was waiting for the glue to dry before, I noticed that there's these massive gaps up here. There's a gap there, and this has a gap here. It touches at this end, but it has a gap at that end. So I grabbed some weather stripping. Ooh, I didn't take the peely stuff off of this one. I grabbed some weather stripping. I didn't have the right kind, so I actually had to put 4 layers on that to make it thick enough. I didn't have any thicker. So I put some weather stripping here, and I put some weather stripping there. And so that way, when this is closed, it seals up everywhere else. It fills that hole there, and it fills this gap here. And I won't be filling the top of that with dust whenever I work. I don't have any solution for these drawers in terms of weather stripping. I'm just hoping that they don't fill up, because I kind of got to go up and around. It's a little more difficult to get into those drawers, I think, for the dust. All right, I will check back in tomorrow. All right, now it's Monday, 2 days later. Yesterday, I spent a lot of the day building my downdraft box. It took a lot longer than I expected, because everything I do does. Had some plywood lying around from an old shelf project. Built the sides up with plywood. This is a nice piece of hardwood plywood on the top, but it's very thin, so there's not a lot of resistance. I use the standard 1-inch grid with 1/4-inch holes, which I countersunk the holes a little bit, mainly because it chipped out. You can see it chipped out in a lot of places. This is really not the right kind of wood, but I had a scrap of it lying around. It's been in the garage forever, starting to get moldy. This top is just press fit in here, so if this ever breaks, I don't have to rebuild the box. I just have to replace the top part. Caulk the inside so it won't leak. Nice 1/4-inch round over bevel around the edges. A lot of flange for a 2.5-inch hose. Put myself a little hose there. I got the dust collection system put in today. It's not beautiful, but it's functional at this point. I've got a hose here with a 1.25-inch fitting on it. That works on the side for the belt sander. I have to rotate this because it doesn't fit. I think we covered that already. I got to rotate that in order to connect up to the back port, which is over here. But the same hose fits there. This hose removes if I ever need to just get off, use this table, and stow this away down here. This is too tall. I was hoping it would fit in here, but it doesn't. I got my staining stuff up here because, it's not a drawer, so stuff that's liquid that doesn't need to fall over goes up there. All my extra shop vac and dust collection stuff is over here. I'll find a different home for that, but it was convenient to put it there right now. I've got my Dremel tool hanging there. With my downdraft box, I'll work right here. I have my super magnifying light built into the workbench now for my downdraft box. And that gets out of the way when you're not using it. A lot of light in here. I put a big corn light up there. I think that's like 700 watt equivalent or something it claims on the box. It's 90 watts of LEDs. 90 watts of LEDs produces quite a bit of light. I've tested this out. Oh, I've got down at the end here, I've left myself a vacuum hose with a hose fitting on the end that standard attachments will go on. And it's long enough that I can vacuum up the shop with this. I'm still waiting. I was supposed to have a power strip that ran across the back here. I bought one. It wasn't the one I wanted. Again, Lowe's website lies. They didn't have the one I wanted. It doesn't appear that it actually exists, to tell you the truth. It said they had 4 in stock, but the product doesn't even exist if you switch to any other Lowe's. Mine didn't have it in stock. So I ordered one from Amazon. I will either be putting it across here, or I may put it on the bottom of this. It's like a 40-inch power strip. So I may bolt it to the bottom of this right here. I may put it on the back of this. This is a little flimsy, but you know, with the right backing plate, it'll fit. And that way I'll have power across the back. I won't have to run cords all the way across the front. And that will be nicer. I'm still figuring out what all goes in the drawers. I've decided my carving stuff, carving and sanding, will go in the bottom drawer. I haven't brought it all down here yet. My files will go here. I have a piece of sandpaper there, so maybe I think sanding is going to go there. And right now this is just directions and tools for that, and to assemble this. And of course, hearing protection, very important. It's a small room, nothing but hard surfaces right now. I'll probably look into getting one of those anti-fatigue mats for the floor. They sell those in 2x2 squares that you snap together and you can cut around. I wanted to get the layout. Where the missus is standing over here in this corner, I believe, is where the buffer will go. I have not yet brought the buffer down, but it'll stand there. And then I have a small monitor that I need to put up in a corner somewhere. And, you know, maybe it goes there, maybe it goes over here. I haven't really decided yet. The key is I need to build a little shelf below it where I can put my tripod for my camera so that I can film what I'm doing. It used to be I set it on the workbench and I would be working on another table, you know, a few feet from the workbench, or I set it on a tripod. There's not really room to set up a tripod here, so I think I got to build a little shelf where a little mini tripod goes rather than putting the floor standing tripod in here. And then I'll have a little monitor, you know, that I can use with a Chromecast in order to cast my screen to it so that I can see that, you know, I'm on frame. I don't often have that, and so I have to shoot my shots multiple times with test shots and things, and sometimes the camera doesn't start, and sometimes it's pointed in the wrong direction. Believe it or not, the missus won't stand around holding the camera for 25 hours while I make one of these. So, you know, stainless steel, it picks up a lot of fingerprints. But here we are. Formerly the kids' splatter room, and now my pipe studio. I've decided to call it a studio because then it makes me feel like an artist as opposed to a workshop. A workshop is just something, yes, the missus is making. Because guess what? The missus has a studio, a music studio, and it's directly upstairs from this room. So when I'm here running all my power tools, the missus will be right, you know, 4 feet from me, right on the other side of that ceiling, trying to practice. And I'm sure, well, if she's practicing the bagpipes, you know, the power tools just make that sound better. But when she's practicing the beat, oh, is there a bird loose in here? When she's practicing the viola, sometimes she may not want the droning of the power tools in the background. I got the stink out of the shop vac. This one was used for cleaning up guinea pig cages, I believe, almost exclusively during its life, and it had a bit of the odor of, say, guinea pig cage stink. So when I turned it on, it would make a nice pungent smell in this room.
Last was hedgehog.
Oh, last was hedgehog.
Which is a carnivore.
Oh, yeah, the hedgehog is really
That's
stinky.
why it stunk.
Okay.
Because guinea pig wouldn't smell like that.
Okay, yeah, I forgot about the hedgehog. Cleo.
Yeah.
Chloe? Chloe? I don't remember the hedgehog's name.
Cleo.
Cleo. Okay, Cleo.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But their poop is
our
stinky.
Our darling daughter would get mad at me for not remembering. There were just so many pets, though. There it is. It came out similar to my vision. My only difference is that I thought I might possibly be able to get this hooked up to a port here. There just isn't enough clearance if you get down here and look. You know, this is the end of the pipe, and it's 2 knuckles, right? That far, 2 inches. So there's not enough clearance to get a hose on there or anything. So such is life. It's better than having to set everything up and take everything down every time I want to work on a pipe. I'm not going to get the drill press in here. Originally, I thought I could. I could probably put the drill press in that corner where I said the buffer was going to go. And then I could put the buffer over in this corner here. But I use my drill press for a lot of stuff in the garage that needs space around it. I can't imagine if I ever need to drill anything.
I thought you said you weren't going to put the drill press down here because you
I
only
originally
use it
said,
for like
I
5
originally
seconds.
said I wasn't going to bring the drill press down here. But then I thought, hey, I think I can bring the drill press down here. Now I've decided I could bring the drill press down here. There is room, but I don't want to. I'm going to leave it up in the garage. It's huge. I could probably I can set the bandsaw right here, right? It uses the exact same connection as that.
As what?
Well, it uses the same connection as this box.
Oh.
So I could pop the hose off of this box, put it in there. That'd go right in the back of the bandsaw. So
Is it
I could
the
do
same
everything.
size coupling?
Yeah, it's a standard because this is the 2.5 inch. This is the standard what they call the shop vac size. Now that stupid shop vacuum comes with the 1 3/4 inch or something. It's the diameter, so this is smaller, but the diameter going into the body is the 2.5 inch. The rigids, for whatever reason, they use one size up on the connection to the body. And that's why I had a problem with the other one.
It's probably some proprietary.
The other one, it didn't fit. It's got a little clippy thing, right? They have a clip that fits over it and latches it in place so that when you pull, it doesn't tip over. And I guess they use a larger connection for that, for mechanical stability or something. I don't know. I don't work for Rigid. Rigid is made by some European tool company that I forget the name of. IMI or something. So that's it. We're all set. I got to bring some more of the carving stuff down here. And, I've got the old burl that I messed up, that I over drilled from a few videos ago that I worked on making leaves for the vine. I'm gonna see how well my downdraft box works, is carving a little bit on that. Get back into because it's been about a year and a half or something since I've made one. So I may just work on that a little bit. A pipe.
Not quite a year.
Okay, about a year.
You had vine pipe and Kofivi pipe.
Kofivi pipe was during the Kofivi. Yeah.
We're not even a year into that yet.
Feels like it. All right.
Hey, one quick question for you, Turkey Bee.
Yeah.
Are you going to do your clay modeling in here also?
I can do my clay modeling in here also, right here. I can do it right here.
So where are you going to put all the clay stuff? In one of these drawers, maybe?
So right now, all the clay stuff is in this box in the corner behind the door. I put a nice styrofoam box there because, well, there is a doorstop. There wasn't. And I had this styrofoam box. Right now, that styrofoam box is full of all my materials. So all the clay models, but also all the briars that I have, which is 1. I'm down to 1. I gotta buy some more. I wasn't gonna buy some more when I didn't have time to make it. And I still, the nice thing about this is I'll be able to work, a couple hours at a time and just close the door and go away, as opposed to having to clean up the garage all the time. So I can work this in. I can work on the pipes, in the evenings or a
half hour during your lunch break.
A half hour here and there, as opposed, and then I can keep the refinishing of the wood projects in the house going, because the steps need to get done and the railings need to get done. I still have to finish the trim around the master bedroom sink. And I probably have 30 days worth of work on that stuff to go. So, but this was fun. I like to make the box. The box was fun. All right. That's Turkey Bee. From Turkey Bee Makes Stuff, your best source of blog-worthy making stuff observations. I don't have a tagline for Turkey Bee Makes Stuff. I made this, but I'm not going to show you how, because you can watch one of 40 other videos. It's all the same. You make a box. I used 45-degree mitered corners because it was easy. I could cut them on my miter saw. Okay. Out.